What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Professor Anime. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, guys, I am here to bring you all my review of Berserk Volume 16. So let's get this started. Now, when it comes to this volume of Berserk, we get a lot of setup for a lot of things, but the main topic of what is contained within this volume is religion. Now, picking up right where volume 16 left off, we see Guts ends up getting captured by the Holy Iron Chain Knights. Now, as we know, the Holy Iron Chain Knights are under this mission in order to capture the Black Swordsman by the Holy See. And the Holy See is pretty much this little organization that, well, we really don't know too much about them in general. However, what we do know from this volume of Berserk is that they are, in fact, a religious organization, and it seems that, well, we'll get to that in a bit. Before we head into the religion aspect, let's first dive into at least 25% of what this volume contains in the beginning stages of the volume. So the first 25%, we see Puck was actually the one to get Guts out of the cage that the Holy Iron Chain Knights put Guts in. Puck ended up finding some keys, and he smuggled the keys into Guts' cage, and Guts ended up getting out of the cage. Now, we have it to where Guts ends up escaping. However, he ends up capturing Farnese because he has some questions that he would like to ask her. So, then we have it to where the Holy Iron Chain Knights are trying to attack Guts for, escaping from his cage at the camp. However, Guts has Farnese, so they know if they were to attack him, they might end up killing Farnese in the process. And also, Guts uses her as a shield and, pretty much tells them, hey, if you try anything with me, I will kill your Holy Iron Knight right here on the spot. So Guts ends up escaping the Holy Iron Chain Knights. However, it is nighttime, and usually what happens at nighttime, for Guts at least, is that he's chased by demons. Because if you are branded by the brand of sacrifice and, it's nighttime, usually that is the time when demons start to haunt you. So we have it to where Guts tries to escape. However, they end up falling off this sort of cliff, I think, and pretty much we have it to where Guts has to, defend himself and Farnese in the process from getting injured or attacked by these so-called beasts, these demons, okay? And then we have it to where there's one specific part in this, these few chapters that we saw in the beginning of this volume of Berserk, to where Guts starts to remember the events that ended up going down in the eclipse, and I'm just like, oh shit, shit is getting real, because we have it to where, there's these, possessed dogs, and they're just very gruesome. They have human-like heads, and then we have it to where there's also a demon that possesses a horse, and tries to mount Farnese. I'm not joking. I'm not joking you at all. And Guts sees this horse about to mount Farnese, and she's yelling no and everything, and then you start to see the flashback of what Guts remembered of the eclipse 2 years ago, to where basically, Casca was being raped by Griffith, and this just pisses Guts off so much. He goes out on this horse, freaking cleaves it in two with his big giant sword, but manages to stop, just an inch away from Farnese's neck. And I'm just like, dude, like, I literally had to put down the volume for a couple of days, because just, remembering the eclipse, like, oh man. And then what happened in that volume, like, I'm really scared how they're going to end up adapting this in the anime. Now for the other 75% of this volume. So when it comes to the other 75% of this volume, we get introduced to symbolism, foreshadowing, and also religion. Pretty much we see that throughout the entirety of the rest of the 75% of this volume of Berserk, that pretty much just builds up certain events that we can expect for, other volumes to come of Berserk. Now, first, let's, talk about the religion of the Holy See, because when it comes to the Holy See, we really don't know much about the religion that they worship. However, by the end of this volume, it is pretty much implied that they are worshiping Griffith. When it comes to the Holy See seems to be worshiping this statue right here. This is the cover of Volume 17 of Berserk, and I think actually this sort of statue or this symbol actually ended up appearing in Volume 16 of Berserk. It was just briefly hinted at, but in Volume 17, this pretty much just shows up everywhere. So what do we have here? Okay, we have a white bird that has been put on the stake, okay? Pretty much nailed upon, a cross, okay? But, however, if you look closely at this, we see a behelit at the bottom of this stake. And there is snakes, 2 snakes coming out of the behelit, okay? Nailed directly upon the bird, and then the bird is nailed upon the, the stake. Okay, so that is pretty much the symbol that the Holy See worships. Now, what is this white bird? Probably a hawk. The white hawk actually is brought about in this volume of Berserk quite a bit. Who do we know as a white hawk? Griffith, okay? So, we see that there's this white bird, okay? This white hawk. And, the color white can pretty much, resemble innocence, pureness, okay? And that is technically what Griffith was in the beginning portions of Berserk, but pretty much his dream corrupted him and made him turn against pretty much everyone he ever knew, okay? So we literally have a white bird that represents pure and innocent, basically being killed off, okay? So pretty much, this implies that the Holy See actually is worshiping Griffith, okay? Because Griffith, as I stated before, he was pure and innocent at one given point in time. However, he literally did die just like this bird. However, the bird is being reborn, therefore bringing this new persona of Griffith called Femto. So basically, what I'm getting at here is that the Holy See is worshiping an evil god. I really hope that made sense. I mean, when it comes to Berserk, things can get kind of complicated, but I'm pretty sure that is what is being implied in this volume of Berserk. Griffith is actually brought about several times in this volume of Berserk. There is even one point to where we see Zod make an appearance, and then we see this mountain of corpses that Zod just built up. He is just killing people for the fun of it, still trying to someone that will match his own strength, and then it seems like he starts to fall asleep and drift off, and then he has this vision of Griffith. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I can show you it though, because of the amount of gore and stuff, what's going on, but yeah, we literally see him make an appearance. We see Griffith make an appearance in Zod's vision or his dream or whatnot, and Griffith literally destroys Zod, like literally cuts his face in two. Pretty much we have it to where his horn only comes off, but then Zod ends up waking up and he realizes that he's okay. However, the horn that he had previously ends up coming off and he is bleeding, and he's like, if that was a dream, then what the hell just happened to my face? Why am I bleeding? So, it's very interesting how it seems that Griffith is literally, coming about in pretty much everyone's mind. We have it to where Guts wants revenge on Griffith. Zod wants to face Griffith, it seems. As an apostle, he wants to face Griffith and, face him just for the fact that Griffith is probably stronger than he has ever become, and it makes Zod worried because it seems that he might die. And then there is also a point in which we see Charlotte actually see Griffith again, and basically we see, see in her mind that Griffith makes the appearance as an angel to her, and she wants Griffith to rescue her from this tragedy that she says she is in, because it seems that she is now losing hope at, and finding meaning in her life. We have it to where we see that the plague has now hit her father. She doesn't really care much about her father, but if anything, she is scared of her father and doesn't want to face him face to face. But we have it to where the King of Midland ends up, slowly dying from the plague, and then we have it to where this army just appears out of nowhere, and I really want to know what happened to Midland. Another army just completely, devastated, Midland. And Midland was pretty much, this whole kingdom that couldn't be penetrated by pretty much any army. So now that the king has finally fallen and there's no one to succeed to the throne, there is no one left to defend the Kingdom of Midland. So I'm really wondering, what happened to, the King of Midland entirely, because we have that whole army that just comes in and freaking, I'm assuming that it is implied that the Kingdom of Midland was destroyed. So if that's the case, and if there's no successor to the throne, then I guess maybe the leader of that army probably took over the throne or something like that. But either way, I'm just really interested on how much Griffith was brought about in this volume of Berserk, and just the amount of stuff that went down in this volume as well. I mean, there is so much stuff that goes down in this volume of Berserk. We even have it to where the incubi of Guts, basically Guts' demon child, makes a prophecy for Casca, and kind of warns Guts for the danger that Casca might end up getting in. And this is where we see Guts end up going back to where Ricket was at, and Godo, the blacksmith, where he first got his, new arm and his new supplies and whatnot before he actually went on his journey for 2 years after the eclipse. Now, when he ends up getting back there, we see that Ricket looks like Judo now, in a sense. At least to me, Ricket looks like Judo now. I mean, now we see it that he is a little bit older, and also it seems that he is an apprentice of Godo. However, sadly, Godo is slowly dying, just simply because of old age. But this is implied that we will end up seeing that Ricket will be the blacksmith for Guts' armor and equipment for now on. But the other part, the bad news, instead of the good news from what we see upon Guts' return, the bad news is that Casca is missing. And of course, Guts is pissed about this because, in the shape that Casca is in now, she doesn't know any better. She is literally a child at this given point in time. Her mind is all messed up, and, she really just can't defend herself, and he starts to blame, Ricket for the fact that, since he was supervising her at the time, that, why did she end up escaping? Why didn't you go look for her? But we do find out that Ricket did end up go look for her. It's just the fact that, because of the fact that Godo was also dying, he really couldn't do anything about it. And he couldn't really go too far from home because of the fact, he can't really survive on his own. So we have it to where Casca ended up kind of just, drifting off, and we don't know her exact location now until, obviously the final part of the volume where we see where she's at, but we'll get to that in a bit. But we have it to where there is this awesome speech that Godo ends up giving to Guts. Godo is like, why don't you just end this charade? Why don't you just end the fear, the hatred, the malice, the war that you have with yourself entirely, and just, pretty much take it easy, settle down, pretty much. But the thing is, Guts, can't abide to this. He has so much rage built up inside of him that, he just wants to let it out, and the only way he can let it out is by killing Griffith, the person who pretty much brought this life upon him, and I really like how the speech ended up going between Godo and Guts, because we see that Guts ends up, you know, taking a nap, or is about to go take a nap in the cave that Casca was held at, you know, pretty much to, you know, protect himself from the demons that will end up coming in. So when it comes to when, you know, we see Guts in that cave, he starts to think about what Godo ended up talking to him about in that speech that he gave to him. And there's the fact, which, let me see, where does it appear? We have it to where Guts ends up, you know, realizing that, you know, my fear and my malice, I don't know, possibly is both, but I can never atone for this dark flame, because he has simply, you know, killed a lot of people. And if you think about it, Guts has pretty much done the same thing that Griffith did in the past, okay? Because if we think about it, you know, Guts is technically killing people, or killing demons, okay? Killing demons upon demons upon demons, and he is doing this for the simple fact, in order to get to his goal, and that is to eventually kill Griffith and get payback. But if you think about what Griffith did in the past, you know, he ended up killing, you know, regular people, you know, who he needed to kill in order to get to his goal. So if you think about it, you know, Griffith and Guts are just that much more alike when it comes to what goes down in these pages of Berserk. Now, I think I can show you this, but we see this monster right behind Guts right here, okay? This beast. Now, from what I see, I mean, we did see this in Volume 16 of Berserk as well. This has to be Guts' inner beast, okay? Because we also have it to where directly above the panel next to it, it says, "The blood must flow, so keep killing. It will still thirst forever, all alone, always." Basically, this demon is, or this beast is telling Guts to keep on killing, and this is where we are probably going to see, you know, Guts completely start to go mad, to the point where he really can't control himself anymore, because his inner self, you know, wants to kill as much as he possibly can. And I, you know, made a prediction in my last volume review of Berserk, to where, you know, is there going to be a limit, you know, to where Guts is going to end up breaking necessarily? Because even Godo says the sword can end up breaking, but as long as, you know, you put the sword underneath a fire, it can still harden up and fight. You know, that's necessarily what Godo said, but at the same time, the more Guts starts to fight, the more he starts to feel that he needs to kill more and more and more in order to get to his goal. And it's almost like he is becoming more demon-like, you know, than human. So, you know, when it comes to Guts' future, you know, as to what is going to come about his character, I am really scared, because it seems like, you know, Guts is, you know, going down the wrong path necessarily, but that's the sort of character he has always been. And then, of course, by the end of this volume of Berserk, we see this Inquisitor pop up that was called upon by the Holy Iron Chain Knights, and we see that there are people trying to assassinate this Inquisitor because, you know, he did some pretty dirty shit to them, if I, you know, if I could say that. But this Inquisitor, dude, he is a complete psychopath. There is like one page to where his face just, you know, swollens up, and it just gets kind of gruesome. And then he has his own torturers as well. We have it to, you know, where there are like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there was like 5 or 6 torturers that he had with him. One has this giant wheel, which pretty much is used to crush people. And this, in fact, was a torturing method back in the Middle Ages, you know, which is technically what the setting of Berserk is based off of. And then there is this one little guy who has like pliers, who literally, you know, puts the pliers into this guy's eye and pulls the eyeballs out. Like, I was like, dude, like, these torturers, they mean business. This Magnus guy and these torturers, like, they mean business. And I gotta say, when it comes to when Guts is eventually going to face them, because we know that he is, like, That is going to be freaking amazing. But yeah, when it comes to this volume of Berserk, I mean, obviously it was an awesome volume. There is just so much buildup in this volume, and some of the stuff made me cringe a little bit, not from, like, you know, being bad or anything, but just from being so graphically detailed, because as you can tell, the artwork is getting, you know, better compared to, you know, volume 1 of Berserk. But yeah, this was an awesome volume, you know, so much build up, so much symbolism, foreshadowing, and also Griffith was brought about in this volume, like, several times. He was actually brought up about, and this makes me believe that Griffith, in maybe the next volume, or, you know, a few other future volumes to come, you know, when I eventually pick up volume 18 of Berserk, you know, it seems that Griffith is actually going to make an appearance very, very soon, and I can't wait to see that, especially to see what Guts will do. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this volume review of Berserk, and of course what you thought about the overall volume if you have read these chapters of Berserk. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like. It always helps out the channel. And if you want to stick up to date to my future content on this channel and, you know, see more videos from me, see more Berserk related content, then hit that red subscribe button below and you'll never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys. Love you all, and I'll catch you all in the next one. I'm gonna go need to get volume 18 of Berserk really soon. Catch you guys later.